Hi all, welcome to the first bonus episode in the Leading Safely podcast. Today, I am speaking with the lovely Naomi Armitage, the director of the Humanology Group. The Humanology Group help build psychological safety with leaders, teams, and individuals to create not only safe, high-performing, diverse, innovative, and productive teams, but mentally healthy workers and businesses. Naomi holds a special place in my heart as she's done her time on a site in a boots-on-the-ground role, so knows firsthand the types of challenges that frontline workers experience.
Hi Naomi, thanks again for taking time out of your busy schedule to meet with me and discuss such an important and timely issue on psychological safety. As you know, I'll be asking all of my special guests these three general questions just for a little bit of fun and because I'm curious really. So let's get into those. So first question, what do you think makes an effective leader when it comes to health and safety?
The greatest leaders in this space, I think, are the learn-it-all leaders, and they really see their role as learning from those around them and harnessing that collective power of the team around them, their knowledge and experience. So these sort of leaders, they're not the know-it-all leaders, they're the learn-it-all. They ask lots of questions, twice as many responses. You know, they're the leader who admits mistakes, invites participation, really listens curiously and really is empathetic and genuine in their care for really making it a healthier and safer workplace.
Perfect. So what would be your words of wisdom for someone dealing with people who don't want to change when it comes to health and safety?
Yeah, well, this is a great question because often we respond to those people with force, or we tend to respond to them with a label. They're just the troublemaker, or they're just being difficult. Or we tend to then mind read, they're doing that because X, Y, Z happened to them in the past, or they're aligned with such and such. And that pushback really creates this divisive position between the two parts. So I would really encourage people to be curious and understand their why. Why is it? What's their story? What's their experience been in the past? Have there been situations where they might have been dealing with something like this before and it hasn't gone well, so they're quite on edge? So I really would encourage those who are dealing with those difficult people or really pushing back to really just take that off and be really curious about why is it, and asking lots of questions with a genuine care and without judgment. And like a little sort of micro tip would be really being careful about not using buts. So for example, if they said something like, if you responded to them with, I understand you don't want to participate in the new testing regime, but it's what the committee's agreed. As soon as you add that, really discount what they've. So really trying to use lots of ands. So I understand you don't want to participate in the new testing regime, and I understand it's already been voted on by the committee. Just adding the and, you're not agreeing with them, but it just allows a conversation to kind of continue versus cementing each other's, sort of position and opposition.
Yeah, you could definitely tell when something may not be going according to plan if you hear the word but come up in the conversation. So that's really interesting that you said that. And finally, if you could invent something to solve a health and safety issue in the workplace where expenditure, opinions, etc. didn't matter, what do you think you would invent and why?
Well, it's not an invention. Well, it kind of could be, but I think it would be a mindset shift. It's like you'd walk through this sort of machine and it'd actually tune your curious mindset. And that I think the real opportunity is if there was a shift in mindset where we truly were curious and open to questions about situations that we're faced with. Are we doing these things? Are they working? Should we be doing them? And really being able to ask and have that mindset in that day-to-day operations would really help us unlock ourselves from the shoulds, or unlock ourselves from the, we better do this because of such and such as initiative, or the company's set a position here. So I think the invention would be a real true free curiosity and curious mindset.
So they're really good answers. Obviously, you're an expert in the psychological safety field, and we've been talking about mindset change. So would you perhaps be as nice as to impart some of your key insights with us around that space or in that area at all?
Yeah, sure. It's funny, I was actually just thinking about writing what have our learnings been to date around this journey of psychological safety, and I'll share some of those with you because they're probably the most useful. So, psychological safety is that freedom to feel safe to speak up, admit a mistake without fear of retribution from those around you. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting, the teams that we've been working with who have seemed to be really successful at doing this really have leaders who are humble. They're humble learn-it-alls. They don't have big egos. They're really able to let go of their ideas, thoughts, opinions. It's really interesting, those leaders who can do that, that's really powerful, because what we've also found is that those who are higher up the tree have a higher perception of psychological safety. And it's a very different reality to those on the shop floor. And I think sometimes that sort of perception clouds the need to do anything. So I said, a CEO said to me, well, I'm totally safe. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, well, it's very different when you're the, fitter on the ground floor. They don't feel safe. You've got positional power. So I think that difference in perception is really powerful. And probably the other probably important journey is the small things erode psychological safety really quickly. I've been in teams where we're working around psychological safety contracts, we call them, which are really around being clear around what are the behaviours we want to see in our team that really foster this. And so we'll agree on, for example, creating room for voice. There's real space that everyone can speak up. But then in the next breath, you'll hear them at morning tea and the leaders talking over the top of everyone with their opinions and ideas, and they've really missed the opportunity to create a chance for someone else to speak up or step in. So those little micro behaviours, they're the things that really undo psychological safety. It's not the big things. It's like that day-to-day little behaviours that really erode it, unfortunately. And probably the last thing is this real strong link between psychological safety and individual well-being, which we didn't probably believe it would have as much of an impact. But those teams where you've got a great, safe place to work, we're seeing a significant difference in the people who are in part of that team, their mental health and well-being. And I think that's a really exciting kind of piece to the, puzzle around actually managing well-being in the workplace.
That's very interesting. Thanks for sharing those insights. That's been great. And I'm sure that our listeners and those that have tuned in will get some very good insight from it. Hopefully some skills they can put into use as well. So thank you for that. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Georgina.
What a lovely chat with Naomi. I'm so grateful for her time. So that was our first bonus episode and a great look into the space of psychological safety. Stay tuned for more bonus episodes coming out in the next few weeks. Until then, stay safe.